everyone, and welcome to the podcast. It's another week gone by, and it's time, as promised, for another You Hate It, I Love It episode.
Yes.
Yes, how are you, dear?
I'm very much better.
Very much better, no cold this week.
No.
Can have a little energy in proceedings. Excellent. So, the two films we watched today were...
A Ghost Story.
A Ghost Story
And?
with Casey Affleck and Couples Retreat.
Yeah.
Yes. I made Fran watch A Ghost Story because it's awesome, and Fran made me watch Couples Retreat.
Because it's awesome.
We disagree, and that is what we will be discussing today.
Yes.
So the first film we watched is A Ghost Story.
Yes. So let's go with the first question. Why did you choose this film, and why did you think I would hate it?
I chose this film. I watched it shortly after it came out and
Yeah.
was released on sort of streaming, etc. It came highly recommended, and that is why I watched it. I loved it on the first watch through. The second time, I think I loved it even more. I believe it's possibly one of the best films ever made.
Okay.
And that is that is why I chose it. I knew you would hate it because it's odd, confusing.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you are not into that kind of thing, then you will absolutely detest this film.
I didn't think I hated it.
I think you
But-
liked parts of it, didn't you?
I like parts of it, but we'll get to the ending. But yeah.
Okay.
I don't hate it, though.
No?
I don't hate it.
Oh, so you've ruined the episode.
Sorry.
Quick, say you hate it and I'll
I
edit
hate
it
it
in.
now. I hate it. No, I
There we go. Right.
Okay, so yeah, so
Next question.
we'll go into the next question then, which is describe the film for me, please,
It's-
and for the viewers who haven't seen it.
Yes, it's a very simple story.
Yes.
Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara are a couple. They live in a little house in America. One day, Casey Affleck goes out in his car and gets into a car accident, and he dies. We then see him in hospital, dead,
Yep,
and
in the
he
morgue.
becomes a ghost.
Well, no, she goes to see him, doesn't she?
Yeah, but
To say it's him.
to identify his body.
Really weird.
That's
But,
what happens all the time.
yeah.
He then becomes a ghost and haunts Rooney Mara, essentially. And we
Well, he
see...
doesn't haunt her. He
Who's describing this film?
Yeah.
So he haunts Rooney Mara, and she eventually moves on and leaves the house, but he is trapped there as a ghost, and we see him coming to terms with that. We see his journey to coming to terms with his death and his life as well.
Yes.
And then the film ends.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so let's do the next question then.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you like it?
I like it because even though it could easily be described as an incredibly pretentious piece of work, I think...
It's not pretentious, I don't think.
No, I don't think it is either.
No.
I think...
It's very well shot in some parts.
it's magnificently shot. As a piece of art, it's absolutely superb. Yeah,
Yeah.
the shots are incredible. I like it because not enough films really are meditative, if that's the word.
Where you have to think for
Yeah,
yourself.
it takes
in
you
a
out
way.
of yourself and puts you outside of the film.
Yeah.
And very much, it helps you to think clearly and calmly. It's essentially like meditating watching this film. And I think that's brought out in the way it's presented.
Yeah.
For example, the pie eating scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will, if you watch this film, spend 8 minutes watching Rooney Mara eating a pie. But during that time, I was very aware that my breathing was calm and relaxed, and I'm actually very serene, and I really enjoy that scene. It's very relaxing to watch, but it also essentially advances the plot as well.
Yeah.
It's
In
absolutely...
what way?
Well, you're seeing him as haunting her, essentially. He's in the background in his sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell how deeply upset she is. She like wolfs down this pie and then throws up.
Yeah.
It's not. You can see she's not
upset.
acting rationally, and it also shows the disconnect between them now. He's dead and a ghost.
Yeah.
That's how it advances the plot. That's my favourite part, I'd say.
Now we can do pros and cons. My pros and cons.
Drum roll. Fran's pros and cons. Fran's pros and cons list.
So I don't have many written down.
No.
Because one, I got distracted halfway. Well, I didn't get distracted to the film, but I did kind of sit there and go, I don't see the point. But
well, you could say that's a con then, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You think the film is pointless? How do you mean?
No, I don't mean pointless. I just mean like I got some of the points of the film, but they took a long time to get there.
Yes, but there's a reason for that.
Okay, what's the reason?
Well, it's the way the story's told. It's told slowly.
Okay.
So again, it's essentially what the film wants you to do is step into the shoes of the ghost. So you're with the ghost and you're haunting that house over a very long period of time. So it has to feel like it's going on for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. My first pro is I did like the sheet over his body thing. I thought that was quite good because it's like how kids mess about, isn't it, with sheets?
Yeah. I think if they'd gone for like a special effect where he's all like see-through or something, it would have been certainly less disturbing in places.
Yeah. And he's clearly obviously not a ghost because when they were filming it you can see that she walks around him instead of...
Oh yeah. Yeah, but
which I thought was quite...
It's not like Ghost Dad, you know?
Yeah.
It's not about him being a ghost. It's about that he's disconnected from his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah. Visually it works really well.
Yeah, it does work very well. And how the sheet gets all tattered
and when the film's sort of being scary in places, I think when it's just a guy in a sheet, the scene where he trashes the Mexican family's kitchen.
Yeah.
It's fucking
terrifying.
Really terrifying. Yeah. It's a really scary scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not a horror film. Like I should put that out there.
He's just angry, isn't he?
Yeah, but there are creepy and scary elements to it, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, what else have you got?
So I've got a con then. Ghosts talking to each other.
Yeah.
I can see the point of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, did they really have to talk to each other?
Yeah. I mean, they needed to communicate that the other ghost was waiting in the other house and that what they were waiting for was pointless.
Yeah.
So that the other ghost learned that what he was doing was pointless as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been extremely difficult to communicate that without like them speaking to each other.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, you always go for show, don't tell, but sometimes you can't show.
You can't show.
Sometimes you've got to tell.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, all right then. It's not really a con, is it? But we've already said the next con.
What was it?
Very long to get to the point.
But yeah, again, I think that's necessary.
It's the beauty of the film, isn't it? That's why it's...
Yeah, and it is
does it the way it does it
in its presentation.
Well, I did write down he didn't get his note, but actually, in the end, he did get his note.
Yeah, that's kind of the ticking clock element to the thing. He wants to get that note that Rooney Mara's put in the wall.
See what she's written.
Yeah,
but we don't get to see what she wrote.
That's not important.
It is important. I wanted to see what it was written on it.
The note itself, the content of the note isn't important. The note is the goal that he's trying to reach.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why he got to poof away.
Yeah. He was, once he'd reached that, he was happy again, essentially.
So, a con that I didn't write down was the fact that he was waiting so long. In the end, the house got broken down. A whole city got built. And then he jumped off a building and then went back in time to Indians and cowboys time.
Yeah. So
I did not understand that point.
So after he dies, he goes obviously back to the house to haunt it and haunt Rooney Mara. But he can't leave the house. So when Rooney Mara leaves the house, he's angry. So when the Mexican family moves in, he like scares them away, and pushes them out of the house.
Yeah.
Then the house is obviously demolished, and a skyscraper is built, and time passes, and
many years.
Yeah, many years. He's in the future, and then he realizes that he's not part of that house anymore. The house is gone. You see him walking around the office block that they built in its place. So he's like, well, I'm not even in the right place anymore.
Yeah.
So he travels back in time to when the house was first built.
But how can he do that? He's a ghost.
Yeah, he's a ghost. He jumps off the building and then ends up back in time, at the beginning of time. He goes through the entire sort of span of human history.
And then he ends up back in his time.
Back to,
well, what would
back
have
to
been
just before
time.
he dies, and he, exists in a different time.
Yes, that brings my next point. Is there's another ghost in that house.
Yeah.
So does that ghost kill him?
No ghosts kill each other.
Oh.
He goes through that entire period again. You see, watches their relationship and how it broke down and how it failed.
Yeah.
And how he hadn't engaged with his life.
Yeah.
And how he was disconnected. And then, he goes through all that time essentially to get that note. When he gets the note, he's released and he's happy.
I want to know what was written on the note, though.
What's written isn't important.
I think if you know what's written on the note, then you would know why he just puffed away.
But you obviously know, because if she'd written, I hate you, Casey Affleck, and I regret our relationship and everything like that, then he wouldn't have been pleased and probably wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, maybe she wrote, I love you, even though you were a dick. It would have been something like that.
And it does say at the beginning of the film, when they're talking on the sofa, easy to miss because it is a mumblecore film. It's the dialogue of, what little dialogue there is quite hard to hear.
Yeah, I didn't understand what
she does say, when I was a kid, I used to write notes to myself and leave them hidden around the house.
Yeah.
And he was like, why did you do that? She said, I don't really know, but I felt like I had to. So it's kind of tied in, like, that note was always supposed to be found by someone. Also, when he goes back in time and sees the Prospector family, there's the girl writing the note. Yeah. That's when he decides, I have to get that note. So I've got to wait here throughout the entire span of history.
Like that bloke was saying, wasn't he? The one with the dungarees, he was saying, the world moves, but sometimes you never forget what you've done or what people before have done. Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
The man with the dungarees.
Oh, yeah. So, right in the beginning, when he realises he's dead, there's a doorway that appears, like a lighted doorway. Yeah. And I presume that's to
heaven or the afterlife, but he chooses not to go through it because he wants to be with Rooney Mara still.
But how does he know that he'll get given another chance?
Well,
so he's taking that chance.
Yeah, he can't get over. Yeah, he wants to be with Rooney Mara. He wants to be in that house. That's a big part of the film as well, isn't it? Where they're discussing moving out. He doesn't want to go. Yeah, he's really attached to that house.
But then he decides to go, doesn't he? And then he kills himself in a car crash.
I think he kills himself. I think it was an accident. Yeah, because they decided to leave anyway. So when the ghost finds out about that at the end, he's like, shit, I actually didn't love this house that much after all. Yeah. Yeah, he the house sort of traps him. We'll get to the message of the film.
Oh, so I've written here, sad ghosts talking to each other, as then he didn't know who he was waiting for. Yeah. Because he'd forgotten.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the message of the film.
And then that poor little ghost who was with him, the other ghost, then realises when the houses get broken down that they're not coming back, and then he just goes poof.
Yeah, just heartbreaking.
Yeah, but maybe that was meant to happen, otherwise he would have never gone poof.
And that also teaches the main ghost, Casey Affleck ghost, that what he wants isn't going to come back.
Yeah.
Or at least
she's not going to.
It plants the seed in his head that what he's doing, hanging around in the house waiting for her, is not going to work. No. Yeah. Okay, is that your pros and cons?
I just wrote good theory for man in dungarees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the end did not make sense because it bloody didn't.
The ending does make sense.
Okay, go on then. Explain the ending.
Yeah, I already did. He waits. he waits again. He obviously he's waited already.
Yeah.
Throughout from his death to this future time when the house is long gone, and
yeah,
he realizes that as a waste. He then goes back, does that entire wait again.
Yeah.
Until he gets.
But how can he be a ghost
closure.
and be alive?
He isn't alive. He's a ghost.
Yeah, but he watches himself be alive.
Yeah, that's a period of time. He can move through time and space. He's a ghost.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then he realises that.
Yeah, he realises that he's made in his life. He made mistakes, and that's how he finds his peace.
He was very disengaged with his wife.
Yeah,
I felt really bad for her.
Ooh.
If you did that to me, I'd be like.
I would never just sit with my headphones on, ignoring you.
No, he did write a very nice song though.
It was a lovely song.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was actually him singing when we see him at the piano, but he's got a lovely voice.
He has.
Who knew? Casey Affleck, lovely
Well,
voice.
I don't know. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. I don't know if it was actually.
Yeah, it might have been dubbed, but
I don't know. It was a very nice song.
who knows? I'm sure he is like a stage
It
star.
reminded me of Superbad, where he's singing.
What song?
This love. You know that song where they're all off their heads in coke?
Will you sing that song, man? Michael Cera singing that song, yeah.
And he's like,
that guy on coke's like crying. It sounds a lot better than that. Yeah. Okay, next question.
What is your favourite part?
And that leads to, I think, what was probably one of your favourite parts was, the man at the party who makes a little speech about the meaning of life.
Yes.
Is, absolutely. It needs to be heard, I think, by everyone, because it's very wise. Whoever wrote that speech for the film
it's very good.
Is a genius.
He basically explains how life is very fleeting, and if you don't take your opportunities and enjoy life, then it's a wasted.
That's precisely
life,
it.
Really.
Yeah. And that's the message of the film, is that you don't tie yourself to these petty things like houses and things like that, because they are essentially, they're fleeting and largely, in the grand scheme of things, pointless. What you should do is live to enjoy your life and
definitely.
Love people.
Love people.
Yeah.
And love everyone. Who would you recommend this film to and why? I think your mum would like it, wouldn't she?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so.
My mum would probably not watch it either.
I notice that when we get to recommendations, people's mums pop into your head first.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
James would probably watch it. People
don't know who James is.
Your friend James.
Yeah. For a recommendation, I would have to say, if you love kind of arty films like I do, then you'll love it. If you appreciate kind of the science of making a film,
it is well put together.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that it's a slow burner.
If you want to truly relax, like, not in a way where you watch a nice comedy film to just sit and have a little laugh.
I don't know who I'd recommend it to.
I would say anyone who's a bit stressed out about life.
Matt.
Not individual people, groups of people.
Stressed people.
Yeah, I would definitely. I'd recommend it to anyone who's having any existential crisis, because it does help you put things in perspective.
Yeah, make you realise what's important.
Yeah, in that way, it's very meditative. And, as it's a ghost story, I'd say it's a haunting film. Yeah, so it will leave you thinking about things, and that is why I like it. So, anyone who has a few questions about life, the universe and everything should watch A Ghost Story, in my opinion. That's who I'd recommend it to.
Okay, well that's that.
That was A Ghost Story. Did you like it?
I did. Like's probably a strong word. I watched it and realised how important life is.
Yes.
And I think that's all I would take from it. But it was an alright film. Made me think about life a little bit.
Might have to put that on my top 10 list.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay. So the next film we watched, some might say a little less cerebral, but nonetheless
very fun.
I will get to it. So the next film we watched was Couples Retreat.
Yes.
By Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn.
I love it.
Yes. Right, so why did you choose this film, and why did you think I'd hate it?
Well, I chose this film because I have watched it probably very, very many times. And every time I watch it, it makes me laugh. And I don't know why, but I just think it's probably really stupid or something. And I just think it just makes me happy watching it. Mm-hmm. And why did I think you would hate it? Because it's got a few people in it that you probably don't like as actors or comedians. And
that's precisely the opposite. It's got some of my favourite comedic actors in. I love Jon Favreau. I love Vince Vaughn. I love Jason Bateman. I love Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
But
maybe they're not acting to their full potential in this film. You might not. You might see that in that way.
Yeah.
But it is a funny film, and it teaches couples to love each other.
That's your reason for choosing it. So describe the plot and other extraneous details of Couples Retreat.
So basically, there are 4 couples, and one of the couples is having marriage problems, and they want to get a divorce. So it's their like last ditch effort to go on this like couples retreat in, I think it's the Bahamas or the Caribbean or whatever it is, and put on hold, everything from back home, and go through their marriages and talk about things and try and sort their things out. And they sell it to everybody saying you don't have to do the couples sort of tasks, and you can just basically sunbathe, jet ski, whatever. And obviously they all get there and it's not the case, and they have to all do. But it also makes you realise that even though you think your relationship is good or great, there's always something lurking.
Ominous.
And so it just teaches them all that, to appreciate each other and, love each other.
Yeah. I think you kind of touched on it already.
I'm not finished yet.
Oh, I'm very sorry. Yeah,
I'm still describing the film.
Please continue. I apologise.
know this film in detail.
Okay, describe it in detail.
And obviously, they all work together, and then one of the girls goes missing, and then one of the guys, he finds his ex-wife and then gets back with her because he realises he loves her, which is good. Mm-hmm. And then they all make it back and they all get given their animal spirit.
Their spirit animals, yeah.
Which is very funny.
If you say so.
What is there, a hare, a wolf?
Yeah.
A bee?
They're a bunny,
and then an ass.
A bee, a wolf, and an ass. Yeah. I think we kind of described why you like it. But yeah. So we'll skip on to my pros and cons list.
Go on then.
Pete's pros and cons.
Just be careful. Don't be too harsh now.
I have one pro. So I'll begin.
Oh God.
I'll begin with that. The concept of couples who don't think they need marriage guidance being forced to go to marriage guidance is a good concept for a film.
Yes.
It's also a good concept for comedy.
Yes.
However.
Oh my God, this list is so long.
Yeah, like.
Whatever he says, don't believe him.
My first broad criticism of this film, everyone looks like they just can't be bothered throughout the entire thing. Everyone's phoning their performance in completely.
Have they?
Yeah, like Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau they wrote this film and yet they look incredibly bored. Like Vince Vaughn looks like he's asleep halfway all the way through.
No, I don't think that. It's just because he's a busy man.
Like you watch Dodgeball with Vince Vaughn, right? He's throwing himself around in that film. He's putting his heart and soul into it. Or what did we see him in recently? Fighting with My Family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, again, he's actually looks like he's acting, whereas in this he's just a guy. He's on holiday. I think the studio said, "Hey guys, want to make a film for us?" And they went, "Yeah. I also want to go on holiday to the Bahamas." Just wrote a film where they get to go on holiday to the Bahamas.
Wow, that is a fair one.
Yeah. Okay. I'll begin on my cons. I contradict myself a bit with this one. At the start, I hated Vince Vaughn's wife's character. She just seemed like a complete bitch. But by the end of it, she's actually the most likable character.
She is.
And I forgot her name, but she's great, that actress. She's in Billions and
she
Watchmen.
plays Watchmen, yeah.
I really liked her, and I think she's the only one that seems to be trying in the film as well. Still quite early in her career, so yeah, she was obviously like, right, this is my big break.
Yeah, she did get a big break after that, didn't she?
But like, yeah, in the scene at the start, Vince Vaughn's like really busy with his work. And it's just like, no, you can't do any work. You've got to come and like look at tiles and stuff with me. I was like, just leave him alone. He's got work to do.
But it's Saturday. That's what couples do on a Saturday, isn't it? Go and look at tiles.
But he's busy. He's got stuff on.
Yeah, but he just wants to watch the Super Bowl or something, doesn't he?
No, he wanted to do his work. He's making Guitar Hero, which, yeah, I'll get to that. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, and like what I mean about it being a bit lazy, there's like they're in the tile showroom and the kids like peeing in the show toilet.
Yeah.
Like that should be a really funny scene. But like it happens and then Vince Vaughn's just like, oh, he's peed in the show toilet, and then the clerk goes like just shrugs his shoulders. And I'm like, oh, that's the end of that then. That thing happened. There's a lot of stuff, like things happen in the film that are like, oh, this could be funny.
And then
it just sort of ends.
Oh, okay.
That scene's over now. Like,
maybe you were expecting it to be something maybe it wasn't meant to be.
There just doesn't seem to be any punchlines for any of the jokes.
Okay.
I mean, it's a shame because Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn wrote it. Jon Favreau is a great writer. Look at Swingers, like his first film.
Yeah.
That one's really funny. It's got really good characters, and this just doesn't for me. It's just awful. The whole setup to the film is just really contrived as well. Right, we need 4 couples to go to this island. Say like Jason Bateman and Kristen Bell. We can only afford it if all 4 of us go because we get a discount.
Yeah, because it's meant to be as a group.
Yeah. So they have to trick everyone into going. There has to be 4 couples. It's just like, oh, okay. But, it's just a comedy, so you can kind of skip over it.
Yeah.
But then, like, they do this little presentation for all the couples, and the couples are like, I don't want to go because it sounds awful, which is fair enough. And then, for some reason, Jason Bateman breaks into Vince Vaughn's house.
It's because he really wants him to go.
To try and convince him to go. Vince Vaughn is convinced by Bateman to go, more by his children going, oh, you can go and Grandpa will look after us. The Grandpa that we never see until the end of the film.
Yeah, but maybe that's not the point.
Like, it's another thing that's like it's set up like, oh, Grandpa Jim's coming. It's all like a big thing. Everyone's like, oh, they're scared of Grandpa Jim, and it's like, oh no, Grandpa Jim's coming, and Grandpa Jim doesn't come. You just see him there at the end. He just
rings the doorbell.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Maybe there's a deleted scene of Grandpa
probably.
Jim's arrival. And we don't see Jason Bateman convincing the other 2 couples to come. He convinces Vince Vaughn and then...
Yeah, but he says to him, if you go, everybody else will go because you're like, the ringleader of the group.
Okay. But anyway, yeah.
He's like the popular one.
He just convinces Vince Vaughn to go, and then the next scene, they're all on the island. They're just there. Yeah, it's lazy. You never see Grandpa Jim, which upsets me.
You do see him. He's in the shop with the little kid, and then the kid's having a shit.
Yeah, you see him at the end. Yeah, he's just there. It's rubbish. I put this in the cons list, but actually I quite enjoyed it. It's always nice to see Commander Cody from Star Wars.
Oh yeah, he's fab, isn't he?
He's there making them all take their trousers off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the yoga instructor is, but I've seen him in something else before.
Yeah. It's also nice to see Peter Serafinovich.
Yeah.
Serafinovich, even though, his character's rubbish and doesn't do anything funny. It's nice to see him. Good to see him working. I like Peter Serafinovich. I've talked about just all the jokes. Very little setup and payoff.
But maybe it wasn't aimed at you. You like your jokes at a certain level, whereas I don't, and I thought
there aren't
funny.
any jokes.
Yeah, but it's funny, innit?
What's funny? I never.
I don't know how to
nothing funny happens.
I don't know how to explain it. It's just funny, like when they're feeding the fish and then the sharks come along.
Well, that's another example. It's just like, oh wow, look, there's a shark, and then everyone just gets out of the water. Vince Vaughn has a little panic attack and like swims away from the sharks.
I don't think you truly understand the film, so that's why you won't love it.
Well, we'll discuss that in greater detail once I've got through this long list of cons.
There can't be many more.
No, there's not.
Okay.
John Favreau's character is a horrible, horrible human being, and I didn't want him to be happy with his wife at the end. I wanted him to die.
Which one's he again?
John Favreau, the fat guy.
Oh yeah, the fat. Like, boom. No.
Yeah, the one who punches the yoga instructor at the end.
Yeah.
He spends the entire film trying to cheat on his wife. And then just at the end, he's like, oh, actually, I don't want to cheat on my wife.
Because he realises how beautiful she is and how nice she is. And why he married her in the first place.
Like, he kind of don't, though. He just sees her, like, nearly cheating on... And, yeah, like, she spends most of the film trying to cheat on him.
Yeah, because they don't think they're in love anymore, but they are.
But, yeah, every scene, he's trying to cheat on his wife.
Let's not ruin this film.
It's very difficult for me to get on board with such unlikable characters. And even like the black fella's wife turns up.
Yeah.
At the end, and was
Trudy.
Trudy is the name of his wife. Yeah.
No, because that's the name of his girlfriend.
No, well, anyway.
Vanessa, I think her name is.
So his wife turns back up, and she's like, "Yeah, I left you, went and had sex with loads of men all over the world, and now I just want to come back and be married to you again." And he's like, "Yeah, okay." Like, is that supposed to be endearing? Is that supposed to be nice?
Well, maybe she realised what she had with him, and
she did.
It wasn't what she was looking. Well, she went looking for it and couldn't find it because she had it already.
Yeah, lovely.
Don't worry, I'm not going to go off loads of men.
Well, let's hope not. The Guitar Hero competition.
Oh, I like that.
But what's the point? I know he's like, they say, oh, he makes the Guitar Hero.
So they got caught, didn't they? Because they weren't meant to be on that side of the island. So he says, I'll bet you that I can beat you at that, even though he knows he makes it. But the other guy doesn't know he makes it.
But why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just...
Because then they get to carry on and go and find Vanessa, the other guy's wife.
Well, what really happened was the makers of Guitar Hero gave them money to have the Guitar Hero in the film.
Maybe.
And then they had to make a really contrived reason for showing Guitar Hero in the film.
I think it works.
It does not.
I like the guy who plays him against Guitar Hero. I always forget his name. He's funny, isn't he?
Peter Serafinowicz.
Yeah. He's in a few other things.
My final con.
Here we go.
These are just finicky, but there's an enormous amount of continuity errors, terrible ADR. And
what do you mean continuity errors?
Every now and then someone will be drinking a drink and it will just be at completely different levels. That's what I mean, it was just being lazy. Like, continuity errors happen, but whether they happen all the time, and a lot of it was clearly shot in on a set, like indoors.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious, like that that's what they've done. It's like, no one will care. No one's really.
I don't care. I never noticed.
Yeah, and a lot of obviously they've had to put lines in afterwards. It's called ADR. So they'll shoot from behind someone's head, so you can't see their lips moving, so you can make them say whatever you want. They reuse a lot of that, especially when his wife comes back at the end. Like all of that, all the time he's talking, it's shot from behind him, so you can't see his mouth, and it's just dubbed over. And
Why would they do that?
Her reaction shot to his dialogue is the same shot each time. They must have just added the scene in at the end.
Oh man!
Basically, it's just terrible.
Maybe they were all having a hard year and just wanted a holiday, and then
Anyway, that's my pros and cons list. Yeah.
Okay.
What is your favourite part of Couples Retreat?
Oh, my favourite part. I like it where they get their animals. That's probably...
The spirit animals?
Yeah, that's probably a good bit.
Well, what do you like about that part?
They get their animals. And they get told what animal they are, what animal couple. I also like the waterfall scene. I think that's really pretty. And then they realise what a toe rag that little yoga instructor is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it all, really.
Yeah.
I like it when the kid pees in the toilet and it's not really a toilet.
So yeah, it should be a really funny scene. But
I think it's funny.
But the same thing happens in an episode of Peep Show, and it's one of the best parts.
Yeah, but Peep Show is different humour.
I don't think it.
It is.
Humour is humour. It's like That film could have been like a silly, funny film, and it just isn't. There's not enough funny scenes, really.
Peep Show and that is completely different. You can't.
I suppose. I'd say my favourite part would have been the bits when they're doing their marriage counselling.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some okay parts in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when they're all shouting at each other.
Yeah. Yeah, like
then
that's
she realises
like
that.
I said, that was a good concept, but turning that into a whole film is not easy, and that shows because the film's really bad.
Oh, I don't think it's really bad.
I think it's terrible.
All right then, that's what you can think.
It's upsetting because I love Jon Favreau. I love Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, I like Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, I like almost all of those, all of the actors in the film are people I respect and admire, but this film is bad.
Okay.
Who would you recommend this film to, and why?
Who would you recommend it to?
I would recommend it to nobody because it's shit.
It's not shit.
It's shit.
You could recommend it to me and then...
I wouldn't, because I wouldn't want you to watch it because it's terrible.
Every time you come home now, I'm going to have it on.
I would recommend it to people I didn't like.
Who are they?
Just anyone I met that I didn't like. Go, hey, have you seen this film called Couples Retreat? It's shit. Enjoy it.
Who would I recommend it to? Probably ladies. Ladies like it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say it's like a chick thing, really.
No.
Especially, like, if you're going to sell this film to someone, especially at the time it was released.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is a Vince Vaughn film, or it's Vince Vaughn, Jason Bateman, Jon Favreau. Again, this is aimed at men.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not.
Maybe it's aimed at couples.
Yeah, I think that was probably their goal, was to get make a date movie. I don't know how it did at the box office.
I don't know.
I've seen it gets repeated on TV quite a lot, so it must have done okay. Yeah. But yeah, it would do. It's got a good cast. I would have gone and seen that, probably.
I would have, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I did at the time.
I would have walked out loving it, and you would have walked out hating it.
I would have, yeah, because I think I bought it on DVD when it came out.
Did ya?
Yeah, I think I was away working, so when it was out in the cinema, so I didn't see it. But yeah, I think it came out after Dodgeball, and yeah, that's one.
Out a long time
ago.
ago.
One of my favourite films, Dodgeball.
I love Dodgeball.
Well, definitely among my favourite comedies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have gone and see it because Vince Vaughn was in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just not very good. So you'd recommend it to, say, a couple
Couples?
like who want to have a night in?
Yeah.
Put that on.
Couples who want to have a night in.
Okay.
And have a backup just in case you don't like it.
Yeah. Have a ghost story on a backup. And you'll enjoy yourself a lot more watching a ghost story.
Yeah. That's about wraps it up.
Yeah. So,
I thought that was
yeah,
good.
You enjoyed your morning/afternoon watching?
I had a nap too.
You had a nap during Couples Retreat.
I did.
You can recite it word for word.
Okay.
I was forced to stay awake and watch all of the film.
I'm surprised you didn't turn it off.
No. Although, yeah, I've realised I've never seen it all the way to the end, even though I bought it on DVD, because I remember buying it on DVD going, this is really boring, and I'm just not watching the rest of it. Never, ever watching it again. And I think I've tried to watch it on TV with you one time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't get through it because it was boring and really bad. Anyway, that's another episode of you. Whoa there! I'm plugging the microphone.
Making sure it was plugged in.
Goodness gracious, that's what that red light means.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't you worry.
Don't
I'm
tell
all,
people.
I'm all over the technical
I
side
don't know
of
what I'm doing.
We'll reveal some of the secrets of behind the scenes. Fran doesn't know how the microphone works.
I do know how the microphone works.
It's very, very simple. You just plug it into the computer, wait for the red light to come on, press record, off you go. Don't tell people how easy it is to make podcasts. There's enough competition out there as it is. Don't make your own podcast. It's incredibly difficult. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you very much.
Another bumper week. Listeners from all over the world.
Yes.
Well, I'm pleased to say the United Kingdom now have significantly more listeners from the UK.
We want more listeners, if you don't mind.
Yeah, not that we don't want listeners from other countries.
Yeah.
We're
anywhere will do.
Non-exclusive here. We love you all.
Yeah.
Wherever you are from in the world, please listen. Tell your friends. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Yes.
Tell all your friends. Splatter it all over social media like jizz on a pillow.
Oh. And you can get us unusual places.
Yeah, on Twitter at Pete Langhout, at F Langhout.
Yes.
At F Langhout for Fran. You are on Instagram.
I am Francis Langhout, very unoriginal.
Yeah, and if you would like to submit anything, ask us any questions, suggest a film for us to watch, you can email me at petelanghout30@gmail.com. And if you want to spell our weird surname, it's Lang.
Helt.
Helt. And we'll join you next week.
Yes.
In a pre-recorded episode because we're going out partying next week.
We are partying.
We haven't got time to do a record, so we're going to record one this week, and I'm going to put it up next week for you to all enjoy.
But it's my top 10.
We'll be discussing Fran's top 10 films of all time.
It's going to be riveting.
It's going to be epic. Look forward to me going, what? That's your top 5 film of all time?
And I won't be revealing the answers to him till on the day.
It's going to be a big surprise for me, I think. Okay. Well, like I said, thanks for listening. There'll be another episode of Investigations of the Oddly Strange.
There will be.
There will also be the long-awaited second episode of Sketch a Bit. Very sorry if you're one of the listeners that have sent us sketches. I couldn't get an episode out this week due to me not putting the microphone on properly while we were recording Sketch a Bit last week. Very, very sorry about that.
Technical issues, you see.
Technical issues, me due to my own stupidity, really. And we lost a lot of time and effort. Very, very sorry. But a bumper episode of Sketch a Bit this week, so look forward to that.
Cool.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye. Bye. Bye. I love you. Bye.